Welcome back to Open Source. I'm here with Ben James. We are talking about making a digital twin of the entire Earth and everything in it, including you at home. There is now multiple versions of you. You're being cloned right now. That's not you. But imagine we could do that. Maybe that's the future. Let's talk about actually what digital twin technology is going to do. Like what could digital twin technology mean for society?
Well, I think we've talked a lot about some of the larger scale implications of running simulations for climate or emergency response or infrastructure and planning. But I think for individuals, it's also transforming a little bit this relationship we maybe have between ourselves and our virtual selves. And I think it's not to be understated how important that can be. So I know somebody once gave me the example, which I found pretty interesting, that if you do something embarrassing in real life, you don't seem to mind that much. But if you do something embarrassing on LinkedIn, for example,
Mhm.
you care a little bit more about it, and that's because actually our digital persona or virtual self is more important sometimes than we let on. And so when you have something like digital twins, all of a sudden you're going to be in a world where you could simulate some things that you think you should or should not do, ways that you might approach certain problems or challenges you're having at work or at home. And I think it is going to transform over the next years our relationship between the world we live in and then the virtual version of ourselves and the virtual versions of the worlds that exist for running different simulations and purposes.
My God, like, dude, you're just blowing my mind every moment. You make me think of like Freaky Friday or something like that, like one of these crazy movies. But it's in a way true, right? Because like a digital representation of you is so powerful relative to the actual representation. Like there's like there's often I have found people sort of like social media avatar that perception is
Yeah.
way more powerful and significant than they are in real life. So I guess my question is, what is happening? Are we talking about cloning? Is that too weird?
I think we're not talking about cloning because you are always going to be yourself. But if you can use a digital twin to help you make better informed decisions or consider more options or alternatives or even kind of personalize the way you look at the virtual world, I think this would make a bit of a difference. If we want to take a step away from some of the visual aspects of it, you could think about already the impact that something like a chat GPT has. If you give it enough information about yourself, how you think, how you approach problems, the types of content that you write, it can answer questions for you in your own voice. It can give you
Mhm.
suggestions for how you might think or how it believes you would think about this type of problem that you've never experienced before. And that's that's not a visual representation of a digital twin, but it is a form of a digital twin in the sense that there is now this kind of digital identity of yourself that's been learned by an AI language model that might influence the way that you respond to certain situations or approach new challenges. I mean, you see it even with very common everyday tasks, like people applying for jobs using ChatGPT to inform the way they present themselves based on previous interactions and data that they've given it. So it really is, I think, changing our lives much quicker than we even realized because of this kind of invisible nature of it.
Right. And look, we only have a minute left, but it's also like the reason I say cloning, it's not like you can just have one version of you. There
Correct.
could be a million Ben James. And I vote for a million Ben James. What a brilliant
And
world
you could
we
learn,
would be.
you yourself, the real one, could learn which of your million versions made the right decisions or embarked on the right paths. And if your
Mm.
simulation and your digital twin setup was correct, you might actually benefit from that.
Yeah, or the opposite. I don't know. It's like
Yeah.
you can use any technology nefariously. I don't know. The
We,
comedic
we,
part of me immediately thinks, oh, I could have, 15 blind dates at the same time with these different versions of myself.
we do a lot of work with game developers, and we did get pitched one game where the idea was you give it information and then you leave the game, but your digital self is still living in this world, and you can come and check back in on them. And if you're unhappy and you realize, oh my God, I'm homeless now, you can go and see what decisions your digital twin made in order to end up there, or maybe you're wildly successful. So I think
Mm.
it's obviously early days for this type of stuff, but it is very, very interesting.
It's funny because, we're having some fun, we're being a bit light, but also this is here. Like you use this technology and we're just spitballing like the implications of
Yeah.
the technology. And there's way more. And I mean, I can't imagine what builds on top of this. Blowing my mind as always. We got Ben James here on open source.